Hey, and on today's show, we've got something special going on. Being the 50th show of the Pocket Lenses podcast, we have Sandy back today.
Hey, it's good to be here with y'all again.
Yep. And so I thought, for the 50th show, we would do something a little different. So right now, I am actually recording a screencast. So what that means is if you're listening to this on audio, I'm actually recording a video version of this portion anyhow. So if you want to, you can just go to the show notes, to the page for this particular number 50th show, and you can watch the screencast of the same thing. Or you can just go take a look at the pictures I'll put onto a Flickr set as well. But I wanted to go over some pictures that we recently took, and actually one of the reasons I'm having Sandy on here today is because she's evolved. she's and it started the
photographically evolved.
It sort of the awareness came to me because of this picture. And why don't you tell them why? This picture amused me while you were taking it.
So this picture is a picture of our son, Sean, and we were out geocaching, and he's sitting there with his little trade items. And before I took the picture, I kept going over there and moving things out of the picture.
Right.
Like the hiking sticks and the backpacks. And I kept going back there and removing things. And I said to Sonny, "What have you done to me?" Because in my former life, I would not even have noticed things like that. I would have just snapped the picture.
Yeah, and so what was in the picture before here was a little backpack and these colorful hiking sticks that, they were things that we were carrying around with us, but it really wasn't part of the scene. So everything else, the gravel and the bushes and everything was okay, obviously. And then that's a geocache, and he's got a couple dinosaurs. But I was amused that Sandy because see, here's the thing. Those things it's not like they weren't ever there. They were always there. Things are always distractions. Maybe sometimes things you can move, and other times things you can't, like in the background.
And there's been other times recently that I've noticed myself picking up even smaller things, like little tiny pieces of lint or trash that were in the way, that I've just begun to notice more with more of a photographer's eye, I guess.
But also I've noticed that you notice the background, like something is distracting in the background, so you move yourself as well.
Right, and getting a better angle on the picture so that the image itself is better composed.
Oh, this is a good one because I think you're pointing down at Sean, and so you really have gotten rid of a lot of distractions, and that's a trick to do. You should point downwards, and you get rid of a lot of the horizon distractions, things like that. But I just wanted to bring this picture up first to discuss how Sandy has evolved. She's grown. No, you have. But recently we also went to a nursery. And this was an unusual nursery because it had all sorts of like knickknacks and doodads, and you'll see what we mean in a second. It was strange things.
It was very eclectic. It wasn't
good word.
It wasn't just the plants.
Yeah.
They had other things for sale, like things you might put outside in your garden, other types of objects, and you'll see in some of the pictures. It was just very interesting. And
so here's one of the first pictures here, and it's of this large chess set, and this is a picture that Sandy took.
And the whole idea for this portion of the show came out because I took all these pictures, and I really tried, to think about composition and different things. And when we got home from our day there, I looked at the pictures that Sonny took of the same or very similar things, and I thought, wow, yours are so much better than mine.
Well, part of it is things we're going to go over today. I appreciate you saying that, but I have to admit, you were putting effort into your composition, and you got some nice shots. A little different. Part of it is taste, I think, but part of it also is just a couple tips we'll go over right now. But she was going around and actually doing some crafty, creative. Sandy can be crafty. Used to do a lot of scrapbooking and other artistic things. And so she was going out and kind of using the photographer's eye. And so she got this picture.
But it's really interesting to look at the one I took and then the one that Sonny took, and we'll talk about the reasons why, that his are better or often a different kind of take on the same picture. This was a not life-size, but larger than normal size chess set that you might have in your garden. And with these big heads, I don't know, what are they, bronze colored
or heavy ceramic or something.
Yeah. And so I was kind of focusing on getting close to a couple of them.
And that was good.
But as I look at the picture now, I see that the background is really distracting because there's a lot of clutter that you can see. There's a house and trees and kind of a weird looking arch thing that is in the way that distracts from the picture.
Well, part of it is color too, which is one of the reasons my picture right here went to black and white. There were distracting flags and other things that I thought, oh, it takes away from it. Another thing you might notice is I really shallowed the depth of field here because faces are very distracting, and so I wanted the main subject to be the faces in the front. And then I've also got leading lines, and I got really down low and made the front face the subject. And if you go back and forth, here we've got a lot of faces, and they're doing their job of distracting your eye.
Yeah, you're not sure which one you should be focused on.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them.
Yeah. And so, tip there is just to cut down on the amount of distracting elements. And that's going to be a common theme you're going to hear today, is cut down on the amount of things that are distracting your eye. And so here, I got down really low, used the leading lines and whatnot. Let's take a look at another picture here. Now, here's a picture of a cool door.
This was a very interesting door, and there was tons of photographers there with clients that they were shooting, and everyone was using this door as a background because it was just a very kind of cool, unique looking door. And I came in close so I could get just the door and the plants along the side, and I thought it was a pretty cool shot.
No, it is a cool shot. And actually, I got to commend you that because you framed it so that you did get up close on this one. You removed a lot of distracting elements. I took a little bit of a different take on this. Actually, I probably took this shot as well, but then I took more shots, and this is the shot I ended up with.
And I like it because it's so low to the ground. It makes the door just amazingly dramatic, especially with the tree canopy up above.
Yeah, and the tree canopy kind of frames it a bit, so it gives it sort of that green overarching view. Now, if you go back here, another difference you're going to notice right away is the tone and the color. And that's really because after I got it home, one of the difference is that is straight out of the camera, and this I touched a little bit in Lightroom and Photoshop.
And it's amazing what you can do with that post-processing that makes it even more vivid than just straight out of the camera.
Yeah, and you'll notice that there's an sort of modern-day looking arch right there on this upper left-hand corner. And also there's this really annoying modern-day looking, what is that, a railing or something?
Some kind of railing, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't like that, and I don't like that arch there. And so, just removing them, that would be a good thing to do.
Wow, they're gone just like that.
And that changes because that light-colored thing in the corner is kind of distracting to your eye. And also that modern-day looking railing over there on the right-hand side is something I didn't think that the picture needed. So I think that's a better picture there.
That's really cool, honey.
Little post-processing.
Post-processing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay,
this was a pretty neat picture here. I really like the wheel, and I was getting in close, but I realized now I didn't really get close enough, or I didn't get the angle right because the brick or stone little monument thing on the left is distracting to the actual picture of just the wheel.
Well, yeah, it's this as well as it looks like there's a person over there.
Oh, I hadn't even noticed that.
It's like the person's butt or something. But there's a lot of things that eventually can draw your eye out. Now, so if you were to recrop this, let's say in post-production, maybe something you could do would be something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
That's a little bit
Kinda
better.
Crops that whole side off of it.
But you still have this. And one thing is I saw that I really liked this greenery here, but it was sort of dark from this angle. And I also liked this sign. I think that was like the primary thing. So my picture was a little bit different. And here's my shot. So this is prominent in the picture, as well as the greenery that I liked. See the greenery over there. Mm-hmm. And I made sure that stayed in the frame. And then I really also liked the texture of the rust and the worn wood, really rustic looking. And so I thought that was the subject matter and got really close. I left out the outside of the wagon wheel in this case. I didn't think it was necessary for this particular story, but that's mine. And again, boosted the colors just ever so slightly, just a little bit more, sharpened it a bit in post-processing as well. Okay. All right, this one, I know you might have gone in there, but I just wanted to take a picture of this one because this was a really cluttered room. And if I'd backed up, there's just too many things distracting. So I wanted to find something that was eye-catching, and these glass balls immediately caught my eye. So I got in really close so that the focus was going to be on one of the glass balls, that one in the center here, the major one. And it's just a way to compose in order to draw a person's eye, because this room was really a bad room actually to take pictures in because of the clutterness of it. The white bathtub helped frame the subject matter and make you realize what the subject was in this one.
Now, this is a picture I took. I don't think you got a shot of this one, did you, honey?
No, I didn't.
And I liked the wheel, and I was getting in close. I wasn't trying to get the entire wheel. I just wanted to get part of the wheel and then the rest of the dilapidated wagon that was there.
It's a good composition.
Yeah, I think now looking at it, I see in the background there's kind of a distracting white-looking pole over there.
Right.
And there's so much of the blown out trees and greenery that kind of distracts from the old wagon as well.
So I think the story here is this rustic looking wood, and like you say, the dilapidated wagon. If you could get rid of that, so maybe a crop using exactly the same dimensions would be something like this.
Oh, that's cool. You don't see as much of the wagon.
No.
But your focus is kind of on the wheel.
Well, the problem is when you crop afterwards, though, you lose a lot of resolution. You can only go so far, then things start to get fuzzy and blurry. So this is a good composition, but maybe another shot would have been to move closer with the camera, so you don't lose any resolution, and yet you still get the same shot. Notice how you get rid of that white thing, whatever that is, like a shovel, and then also that blown out greenery gets really reduced as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so this was a house.
Yeah, this was interesting. This was an old plantation house that they recently opened up for events, parties or, ladies' teas or something. Mm-hmm. But the whole house was just filled with knickknacks and really cool things. And I saw this table, and I loved all the little things on it. And I loved the open book with a magnifying glass. And so I kind of got in close, and I thought this was a pretty cool picture.
Okay. And then here's my shot, and maybe you can comment on what differences you see right away.
Well, then I saw his shot, and I loved it, of course. I loved how he came down at a completely different angle and then was able to see all the books that are stacked on the stairs going up. Mm. And that totally ties in with the theme of the open book and the magnifying glass, as well as giving a little more prominence to that little candlelight. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then the other thing, go back to my picture. You were the one that pointed out the mystery of those
what is that?
Claws' feet or whatever up there. You have no idea what that is. So in Sonny's picture.
So two things here. There's a mystery of the clawed feet, like what is that? And the other thing is the angle of the light. The angle of the light really does make a difference. Excuse me. There we go. The angle of the light really does make a difference. So from this angle, the light's coming from a lamp above. It's reflecting off of this wooden table, and it just really gives the picture a different view. From the angle that I was taking it at, the angle of the light was hitting the table, and now you got a little bit more of the candle and reflection, and you get to see what that thing is as well. is the monkey.
Monkey on a lampstand. But yeah, you don't have just the portion of the feet or paws, and you're wondering what on earth it is.
Right. Okay, the next two shots are actually mine, and I want to show you how when I'm taking a picture, I'm taking it from different angles because I'm not satisfied with it. I started taking this angle at first over here with this being the large wheel, and it was okay. But here, let me tell you a couple things I don't like about it. There's all this mess here, this greenery, these poles, and it just takes away from the sort of...
the fence back there.
Yeah, that fence with the poles on it, and then just this... I didn't like the composition, so I moved around.
The light coming in is nice, though.
This is really nice, and the sun was over in this direction, which is really pretty. So here I have the angle I like. See, you got rid of the chain link fence. I like the curves over here because on the first picture you couldn't even see the curve of that. And that just added some interest to it.
The curve of the handle.
The curve of the handle
We're
here.
looking at an old-fashioned wagon, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for people who can't see it. We're looking at an old-fashioned rusted wagon. And then you've got all these really cool intersecting lines here as well, where on this picture, the only one you see is with a sun blowout over here. So I like the sun flare over here. That adds some drama. But I like this angle a lot better. If only I could get like a sun flare over here, that would be a better picture.
Whoa, you brought in a flare. Look at that. And you didn't comment on the leaf over here. I really
Oh, right.
like that.
Yeah, the leaf is the same color as the wagon, and I left it there. I didn't do all the cleaning up, but it's just something to balance the other side of the wagon, and just gave it a little bit more of interest there. So I like this composition a little bit better. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So just a few more shots here. This is of a Buddha in a garden, and once again, getting really close, really defining what your subject is. Helps. I could have taken this from a little bit farther away, but I put this Buddha where it was. I saw that there was a line leading your eye to it, as well as a little tiny birdhouse here, which kind of balanced out the Buddha as far as subject matter. And this last piece over here is an old tractor, really rusted. That, by the way, is the real sun this time. And I got really close for a couple reasons. One, I love the texture of the tractor, so I wanted you to see as much detail as possible. In fact, I could have gotten even closer, cropped out edges of it, and you can see the machinery. But I wanted to keep a little bit of the environmental sun and the trees and give it a sense of place. The other reason I came in close is right out of the camera's view here, that's cropped out, is a parking lot with modern day looking, distracting, colorful cars. And so I went in as tight as I could. I didn't want to go in much tighter. I suppose I could have gone in just a little bit more because I wanted to keep these oak trees here, the sunlight, and kind of balance out the picture. So hopefully that gives you guys some tips on compositional ideas. However, I have to give Sandy credit though. She really has. If you look at pictures over time, she's giving more thought to her pictures, and it doesn't really take all that much longer. Do you think?
No, it doesn't. It takes looking a little bit more and seeing things, and then just moving your body or your head up and down and thinking, oh, okay, if I just do this, then that'll make a little bit better composition.
Right. And each time that you go out with that thoughtfulness, you try different things, bring it home and see what works, and then go out again and try it next time. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today on my 50th show.
You're welcome.
It's always good to have you on here.
Congratulations on 50.
Thanks. And thanks for sharing your pictures as well. And I think we're going to have you on the show again sometime soon.
We can do that.
All right.